The animated adventure Moana was released in 2016 by Walt Disney Animation Studios and directed by Ron Clements and John Musker. With a budget of around $150 million, the film became one of Disney's most loved modern animated stories, earning hundreds of millions worldwide and winning hearts with its powerful music like How Far I'll Go. The story takes us to the beautiful islands of the Pacific, where the ocean hides ancient legends and forgotten powers. At the center of this story is a brave young girl named Moana, whose destiny is deeply connected with the ocean itself. Before we continue the journey, if you enjoy movie stories like this, make sure to follow the channel, like the video, and share your thoughts in the comments. Now the adventure begins. Long ago the world was full of life because of a magical island goddess named Tefiti. She had the power to create life everywhere: plants, trees, islands, and the beauty of nature itself. At the center of her power was a glowing green stone known as the Heart of Tefiti. As long as this heart remained with her, the world stayed balanced and full of life. But legends say that many powerful beings wanted this magical heart because whoever controlled it could create life itself. One day, a powerful demigod named Maui decided to steal the heart. Maui was famous across the ocean for his incredible strength and magical abilities. Using his giant magical fish hook, he could shapeshift into animals and perform impossible feats. However, despite his heroic reputation, Maui wanted to prove himself even more powerful to humans. So he secretly took the heart of Tefiti, hoping to give humans the power of creation. But the moment Maui stole the heart, darkness began spreading across the ocean. A terrifying lava demon known as Teka suddenly appeared and attacked him. Teka was a destructive creature made entirely of fire and lava, protecting the stolen heart. Maui tried to escape, but during the fight he was struck by Teka's power. The magical fish hook slipped from his hand, and the heart of Tefiti disappeared into the deep ocean. Maui himself was thrown far away into the sea and vanished. Without the heart, the life-giving power of Tefiti slowly faded, and darkness began spreading through nature. Thousands of years later, on a peaceful island in Polynesia, a small child named Moana lives with her people. From the moment she can walk, Moana feels a strange connection with the ocean. One day, while playing on the beach, she notices the water moving strangely, almost as if it is alive. Suddenly, the ocean parts gently in front of her, revealing the glowing green stone, the lost heart of Tefiti. The ocean itself seems to choose Moana, giving her the magical stone as if trusting her with an important mission. Moana doesn't fully understand what is happening, but before she can react, her grandmother Gramatala arrives, and the ocean quietly hides the heart again. As Moana grows older, she becomes the daughter of the island's chief, Chief Tui. Her father constantly reminds her that one day she will lead their people and must protect the island. According to him, everything they need already exists on their land, and there is no reason to sail beyond the reef. However, Moana always feels curious about the vast ocean. Whenever she looks at the waves, she feels like the sea is calling her. Despite this feeling, her father strictly forbids her from going beyond the reef. Because many sailors in the past were lost at sea, he believes the ocean is dangerous and unpredictable. Years pass, and Moana grows into a strong and responsible young leader. She learns how to help her people solve problems and care for the island. But something strange begins happening. The coconut trees stop growing healthy fruit, and the fish near the island slowly disappear. Food becomes harder to find, and the villagers start worrying about survival. Moana suggests that they should sail beyond the reef to find new fishing areas, but Chief Tui refuses immediately. He insists that the ocean beyond the reef is too dangerous and that no one should ever go there. This frustrates Moana because deep inside she feels that the ocean is her true path. One evening, Moana sits sadly by the beach, feeling confused about her destiny. That is when her grandmother, Gramatala, shares a secret with her. She takes Moana to a hidden cave behind the mountains. Inside the cave, Moana discovers something incredible: dozens of ancient boats. These boats prove that their ancestors were not afraid of the ocean at all. In fact, they were legendary voyagers who traveled across the entire ocean discovering new islands. Moana realizes that sailing is part of her people's true identity. They were never meant to stay on one island forever. Her grandmother explains that long ago their people suddenly stopped exploring the ocean because darkness began spreading across the world. This darkness is slowly returning again. Gramatala then reveals the truth about the heart of Te Fiti and the demigod Maui who stole it long ago. She explains that only by returning the heart to Te Fiti can the balance of nature be restored. Without it, the darkness will keep spreading until all islands die. At that moment, the ocean once again reveals the glowing heart to Moana. The water moves gently around her feet, almost as if asking her to accept a mission. Moana finally understands. She has been chosen by the ocean itself. But completing this mission will not be easy. To restore the heart, she must find the legendary demigod Maui and force him to return the heart to Te Fiti. This means sailing across the dangerous ocean, facing unknown creatures, and risking everything. Standing there with the glowing heart in her hands, Moana realizes that her life is about to change forever. The quiet island girl is about to begin an incredible journey across the vast ocean, one that will test her courage, her identity, and her destiny. And somewhere far away in the endless sea, the lost demigod Maui is waiting, though he has no idea that a determined young voyager is about to find him. As the journey of Moana begins, the responsibility she now carries is far greater than anything she imagined. The magical stone in her hand, the heart of Te Fiti, is the only thing that can restore life to the world. But returning it means traveling across the endless ocean and finding the powerful demigod Maui, the one who originally stole the heart thousands of years ago. The problem is, no one even knows where Maui is now. That night, Moana sits beside her grandmother Gramatala, who tells her something important. She explains that the ocean chose Moana for a reason. She reminds her that leadership sometimes means doing what others are afraid to do. Moana still feels unsure, but deep inside she knows that restoring the heart is the only way to save her island. Soon after this conversation, something heartbreaking happens. Gramatala becomes very weak and falls seriously ill. As Moana rushes to her side, her grandmother tells her one last truth before passing away. She reveals that the ocean has always been guiding Moana toward her destiny. With her final words, she encourages Moana to leave the island and complete the mission. This moment changes everything. Moana finally decides she must sail beyond the reef even if her father forbids it. That same night, Moana secretly goes to the hidden cave where the ancient boats of her ancestors are stored. For the first time, she prepares one of the large voyager canoes that were once used by her people to explore the ocean. The boat is beautiful and powerful, designed to travel long distances across rough waters. Before leaving, Moana takes the glowing heart of Te Fiti and carefully places it inside a small necklace around her neck. She knows losing it would mean losing the world's last hope. As the sun begins to rise, Moana pushes the canoe into the water and finally sails beyond the reef. For the first time in her life, she leaves the safety of the island behind. The ocean stretches endlessly around her, filled with mystery and danger. At first, everything feels magical. The wind moves gently through the sail, and Moana smiles with excitement as the island slowly disappears behind her. It feels like she is following the path of her ancestors, becoming the voyager she was meant to be. But the ocean is not as easy as she imagined. Soon strong waves begin crashing against the boat. The wind becomes unpredictable, and Moana struggles to control the sail. Without proper experience, she quickly loses balance as the canoe rocks violently. Suddenly, a huge wave flips the boat completely upside down. Moana falls into the water, struggling to breathe as the powerful ocean pushes her around. The canoe drifts away, and for a moment it seems like her journey might end before it even begins. But something incredible happens. The ocean itself begins helping her. The water gently pushes the canoe back toward her, almost as if the sea refuses to let her fail. Moana manages to climb back onto the boat, soaking wet but still determined. This moment teaches her an important lesson. The ocean may be dangerous, but it is also guiding her. As the journey continues, Moana begins learning how to control the boat better. She adjusts the sail, studies the wind, and slowly gains confidence. The ocean stretches endlessly around her, filled with strange creatures and unknown dangers. During the voyage, Moana meets an unexpected companion, her silly pet rooster Heihei. Somehow the clueless chicken ended up on the boat without Moana noticing. Heihei constantly causes chaos, stumbling around the canoe and nearly falling into the water multiple times. At first, Moana becomes frustrated with the useless bird, but soon she realizes that having a companion, even a foolish one, makes the lonely ocean journey a little easier. Days pass as Moana sails across the vast sea. She studies the stars at night and remembers the stories her grandmother told her about ancient voyagers navigating the ocean. Slowly she begins to understand how her ancestors traveled such great distances. Eventually, Moana spots a strange island in the distance. According to the ancient legends, this island might be the place where the demigod Maui has been trapped for centuries. Excited and nervous, Moana steers her canoe toward the island. Tall cliffs rise from the ocean, and powerful waves crash against the rocks surrounding it. The place feels mysterious, almost magical. After carefully landing on the beach, Moana steps onto the island, holding the heart of Te Fiti tightly. She begins searching through the jungle, calling out for Maui. At first there is no response, but suddenly the ground shakes slightly and a shadow moves behind the trees. Moana quickly realizes something important. She is not alone on this island. Somewhere nearby, the legendary demigod Maui is watching her, and although Moana believes she has finally found the hero who can help restore the heart, she has no idea that Maui has his own plans, and helping her might not be one of them. After finally reaching the mysterious island, Moana begins searching through the jungle, hoping to find the legendary demigod Maui. The island feels strange and quiet, almost as if it has been waiting for someone to arrive. Moana carefully walks through the trees while holding the glowing heart of Te Fiti around her neck. She knows this is the most important object in the world, and losing it would mean disaster for every living thing. Suddenly she hears a voice behind her. Before Moana can react, Maui suddenly appears and grabs the necklace containing the heart. He quickly realizes what Moana is carrying and instantly understands why she came. Maui smiles confidently because he believes this situation will work perfectly in his favor. Moana is surprised to finally see the famous demigod in front of her. Maui is huge, muscular, and completely covered with magical tattoos that move across his body. Each tattoo represents a heroic achievement from his past adventures. For thousands of years, Maui has been known as a powerful hero who helped humans by pulling islands from the sea, slowing down the sun and controlling the wind. However, Maui is not interested in helping Moana. Instead, he tricks her. Maui suddenly grabs Moana, throws her into a cave, and quickly locks the entrance with a giant rock. Then he steals her boat and sails away, leaving her trapped on the island. Maui believes that if he returns the heart of Te Fiti himself, he will once again become the greatest hero in the world. But Maui underestimates the power of the ocean. As he sails away proudly, the ocean suddenly rises and lifts Moana out of the cave. The water gently carries her across the beach and drops her directly onto Maui's boat. Maui is shocked to see her standing there again. No matter how many times he tries to get rid of her, the ocean keeps bringing her back. Moana refuses to give up. She tells Maui that he must return the heart to Te Fiti because the world is slowly dying. Plants are rotting, fish are disappearing, and darkness is spreading across the islands. If the heart is not returned soon, life everywhere will collapse. But Maui laughs at her. He explains that returning the heart is impossible because of the terrifying lava monster Teka, the powerful guardian who nearly destroyed him thousands of years ago. During that battle, Maui lost his magical fish hook, the source of his shape-shifting powers. Without his fish hook, Maui cannot defeat Teka. Moana quickly realizes something important. If Maui wants his powers back, they must first find the magical fish hook. Only then will Maui be strong enough to return the heart. Reluctantly, Maui agrees, but not because he wants to save the world. He simply wants his hook back. So the two begin sailing across the ocean together. At first, Maui constantly insults Moana and tells her she is not a real voyager. He believes she is just a stubborn island girl who has no idea how dangerous the ocean truly is. To prove her wrong, Maui starts giving her impossible sailing tasks. He expects her to fail so he can abandon her somewhere along the journey. But Moana refuses to quit. She carefully watches the wind, adjusts the sail, and slowly begins learning the skills of true navigation. Although she struggles at first, her determination surprises Maui. For the first time, he begins to realize that Moana might actually be capable of surviving the ocean. During the journey, Maui explains that his magical fish hook was stolen by dangerous creatures known as the Kakamora. These strange coconut-armored pirates travel across the ocean in massive moving fortresses. As Moana and Maui sail forward, they suddenly see something terrifying on the horizon. A gigantic pirate ship made entirely of coconuts. The Kakamora have found them. Dozens of tiny pirate warriors begin attacking Moana's boat, firing weapons and jumping across the deck. These creatures may look funny, but they are extremely dangerous and completely fearless. The pirates quickly notice the glowing heart of Te Fiti around Moana's neck. Realizing its power, they immediately try to steal it. A wild battle begins on the ocean. Moana and Maui fight desperately against the tiny pirates while the boat is surrounded by waves and chaos. The Kakamora climb everywhere, trying to grab the heart at any cost. During the fight, Moana almost loses the heart when one of the pirates steals the necklace and runs away, but using quick thinking and bravery, she manages to grab it back just in time. With a clever maneuver, Moana steers the boat directly through the pirate fortress, smashing through their defenses and escaping the attack. As the Kakamora disappear behind them, Maui looks at Moana with new respect. For the first time, he realizes that she is far more capable than he expected. But their journey is far from over, because ahead of them lies an even greater danger, the monster-filled realm where Maui's magical fish hook is hidden. And if they want any chance of defeating Teka, they must enter that terrifying place next. After escaping the dangerous attack from the Kakamora, the ocean finally becomes calm again. The boat slowly moves forward through the deep blue water as Moana and Maui continue their journey. Even though they managed to survive the pirate attack, the real challenge is still ahead of them. Maui explains that his magical fishhook, the source of all his shape-shifting powers, is hidden inside a terrifying place known as the Realm of Monsters. This dark underwater world is filled with dangerous creatures that steal magical objects and treasure from across the ocean. The most powerful monster there is a giant crab named Tamatoa, who loves collecting shiny objects. According to Maui, Tamatoa is the one who stole his fish hook long ago. Moana listens carefully while Maui explains the danger. He tells her that Tamatoa is not just any monster. He is enormous, powerful, and extremely greedy. The crab lives at the bottom of the ocean inside a place called Lalotai, the realm of monsters, where sunlight barely reaches. Despite hearing all this, Moana does not hesitate. She reminds Maui that returning the heart of Te Fiti is the only way to save the world. Without the fish hook, Maui cannot fight the lava monster Te Kā. So if they want to finish their mission, they must enter the monster realm and take the hook back. Soon they arrive at a dark area of the ocean where the water begins to glow with strange blue light. Massive rocks and underwater caves surround the area. Maui explains that this is the entrance to Lalotai. To reach the bottom safely, Maui suggests a strange plan. He tells Moana to let him throw her into the deep ocean so she can distract Tamatoa while he secretly steals the fish hook. Moana immediately refuses. She realizes Maui is planning to abandon her again once he gets his hook back. Instead, she demands that they work together as a team. At first Maui argues, but eventually he agrees because he has no better option. Moana bravely jumps into the ocean, and together they descend into the glowing underwater world. The deeper they go, the darker and stranger the environment becomes. Giant monster skeletons lie scattered across the ocean floor. Strange creatures move through the shadows, and the entire place feels dangerous. Finally, they reach the bottom. There in the middle of the dark ocean floor lies a massive golden shell covered with shiny treasures. Jewelry, weapons, gold, and magical objects are stacked everywhere. And sitting proudly on top of all those treasures is the enormous crab Tamatoa. Tamatoa begins singing proudly about how shiny and valuable he is, showing off his treasure-covered shell. Among all the shiny objects on his body, Moana and Maui quickly notice something important. Maui's magical fish hook is attached to Tamatoa's shell. Now the real challenge begins. Moana slowly walks forward to distract Tamatoa while Maui secretly tries to sneak behind the crab and grab the hook. Tamatoa becomes interested in Moana because she is not shiny at all, which confuses him. He begins questioning why someone so plain would enter his treasure-filled world. While Tamatoa is distracted talking to Moana, Maui attempts to steal the hook. But things go wrong. Tamatoa suddenly notices Maui and becomes furious. The giant crab flips Maui across the ocean floor and captures him with his powerful claws. Moana realizes their plan has completely failed. Now both of them are trapped inside the monster realm. Tamatoa begins preparing to crush Maui, proudly explaining how he stole the hook thousands of years ago because it was shiny and powerful. He refuses to give it back. But Moana refuses to give up. Using quick thinking, she pretends to admire Tamatoa's shiny shell. She convinces him that there might be something even shinier behind him. Curious and greedy, Tamatoa turns around to check. That small distraction is all Maui needs. He quickly grabs the magical fish hook and escapes Tamatoa's claws. Now Maui finally holds his powerful weapon again. Excited, he immediately tries to shapeshift using the hook. His body begins glowing with magical energy as he transforms into different animals. However, after being separated from the hook for thousands of years, Maui struggles to control his powers properly. His transformations keep failing. Sometimes he becomes half eagle, half human, or partially transforms into different animals by accident. This makes it difficult for him to fight Tamatoa effectively. Meanwhile, the giant crab becomes even angrier and attacks them again. A huge battle begins on the ocean floor as Tamatoa swings his massive claws and tries to crush them. Moana desperately tries to escape while Maui struggles to control his shape-shifting powers. Finally, Moana comes up with a clever idea. She tricks Tamatoa into flipping onto his back, trapping the giant crab helplessly on the ocean floor. With the monster unable to move, Moana and Maui quickly escape from the realm of monsters and swim back toward the surface. As they return to their boat, Maui finally holds his magical fish hook once again. For the first time in thousands of years, the demigod has his powers back. But even though they successfully escaped Lalotai, a much greater challenge still waits ahead, because returning the heart means facing the unstoppable lava monster Teka, a creature powerful enough to destroy even a demigod. And the next time Maui faces that monster, the fate of the entire world will be decided. After escaping the terrifying realm of monsters and defeating the giant crab Tamatoa, Moana and Maui finally return to the surface of the ocean. For the first time since the beginning of their journey, Maui now holds his magical fish hook again. This hook is the source of all his legendary powers, the weapon that allows him to transform into animals and perform incredible feats. However, something strange quickly becomes clear. Even though Maui has the hook back, controlling its power is not as easy as before. When he tries to shapeshift, the transformation keeps going wrong. Sometimes he turns into a giant eagle but suddenly becomes human again mid-flight. Other times he becomes half shark or half animal by accident. It becomes obvious that Maui has lost some control over his abilities after being separated from the hook for thousands of years. Moana patiently encourages him to keep practicing. At first, Maui feels embarrassed and frustrated because he used to be known as the greatest demigod in the ocean, but now his powers are unstable. Despite this, Moana believes that if he keeps trying, he will regain his full strength. During their journey across the sea, Maui finally begins telling Moana the truth about his past. He explains that long ago he was not treated like a hero at all. In fact, when he was born, his human parents abandoned him as a baby. They believed he was unlucky and threw him into the ocean. But the ocean itself saved him. The gods discovered Maui floating in the water and decided to give him special powers. They gave him the magical fish hook and raised him into a powerful demigod. From that moment on, Maui dedicated his life to helping humans. He pulled islands from the ocean so people could have land to live on. He slowed down the sun so days could last longer. He controlled the wind and sea so humans could travel across the ocean. Everything he did was meant to earn love and respect from people. But despite all those heroic acts, Maui still felt lonely. That is why he eventually stole the heart of Te Fiti. He believed giving humans the power of creation would finally make them love him. Instead, his decision caused the birth of the lava monster Teka, which destroyed everything. Moana listens carefully and begins to understand Maui better. She realizes that beneath his confident and funny personality, Maui is actually someone who has always been searching for acceptance. As the two continue sailing, Maui slowly regains control over his shape-shifting powers. With practice, he finally manages to transform smoothly into different animals again, including a giant hawk and a powerful shark. Now they are finally ready to complete their mission. Their next destination is the island of Te Fiti itself, where the heart must be returned. But reaching the island means facing Te the massive lava monster guarding it. Soon they arrive near the dangerous area where Te lives. The ocean becomes darker and more violent. The sky fills with smoke, and the water begins glowing with heat from the lava flowing across the sea. Huge waves crash around the boat as they approach the fiery island. Suddenly the ocean erupts. From the burning lava rises the gigantic monster Teka. The creature is enormous, made completely of fire and molten rock. Flames burst from its body while lava flows through the ocean around it. Teka roars loudly as it notices the boat approaching. Moana immediately realizes the battle has begun. Maui quickly transforms into a giant hawk and flies toward the monster, trying to distract it while Moana sails toward the island to return the heart. But Teka is far more powerful than they expected. The lava monster attacks Maui with massive explosions of fire. During the fight, Maui tries to strike the creature using his magical fish hook. However, Teka's fiery power hits the hook directly. A large crack appears on the magical weapon. Maui freezes in shock. The fish hook is not just a weapon, it is the source of his identity and power. Seeing it damaged terrifies him. He realizes that if the hook breaks completely, he will lose his abilities forever. Teka attacks again, forcing Maui and Moana to retreat quickly. They barely escape the fiery monster and sail away from the island. For the first time during the journey, Maui begins losing confidence. He tells Moana that fighting Teka is impossible and that he cannot risk destroying his hook. Without it, he would become nothing again. Moana tries to convince him that they must finish the mission because the entire world depends on it, but Maui is too afraid. He decides to abandon the quest and flies away into the sky, leaving Moana alone in the middle of the ocean. Now the brave voyager, who was chosen by the ocean, must face the most difficult moment of her journey, continuing the mission completely on her own. After Maui flies away and abandons the mission, Moana is left completely alone in the middle of the vast ocean. The sky above her is dark and silent, and the sea stretches endlessly in every direction. For the first time since the journey began, Moana feels lost and unsure about what she should do next. She holds the glowing heart of Te Fiti in her hands and looks at it sadly. Everything that has happened during the journey suddenly feels overwhelming. Maui has left, the lava monster Teka is still guarding the island, and the mission now feels impossible. Moana begins to doubt herself. She starts wondering if her father was right all along. Maybe the ocean beyond the reef really is too dangerous. Maybe she was never meant to be a voyager. The responsibility of saving the world suddenly feels too heavy for her to carry. The ocean becomes calm around her as she slowly lowers the heart into the water. For a moment it seems like Moana is ready to give up. But just as the heart begins sinking into the ocean, something magical happens. A glowing blue spirit appears in the water. It is the spirit of Grandma Tala, her grandmother. The spirit takes the shape of a beautiful giant manta ray, just like the form her grandmother always said she would become after death. The spirit gently swims around Moana's boat, glowing softly in the dark ocean. Moana looks at the spirit in shock, but soon she realizes that her grandmother has returned to guide her once again. Through this magical moment, Moana begins remembering everything she has learned throughout her life. She remembers the stories of the ancient voyagers. She remembers the courage of her ancestors who traveled across the ocean discovering new islands. And most importantly, she remembers who she truly is. Grandma Tala's spirit silently encourages her to believe in herself. Moana finally understands that the ocean did not choose her by mistake. She was always meant to be the one who would restore the heart. With new confidence, Moana reaches into the water and takes back the glowing heart. At that moment, the ocean itself seems to respond to her determination. The waves rise gently around the boat, almost as if they are celebrating her decision. Moana stands proudly on her canoe and finally declares her identity. She is not just the daughter of a chief. She is a voyager. With renewed determination, Moana turns the boat back toward the dangerous island where Teka waits. This time she is ready to face the monster alone if necessary. The ocean helps guide her path as the wind pushes the sail forward. Moana now sails with confidence and skill, using the stars and waves to navigate the sea just like her ancestors once did. Soon the fiery island appears again on the horizon. Smoke fills the sky and lava pours into the ocean as the monstrous guardian Tekka rises once again to protect the island. But this time something is different. Moana is no longer afraid. She steers the boat carefully, using the ocean waves to avoid the monster's fiery attacks. The lava creature roars and throws massive bursts of fire toward her, but Moana skillfully navigates through the chaos. However, just as the battle becomes intense, something surprising happens. From high above the ocean sky, a giant hawk suddenly dives toward the battlefield. It is Maui. After leaving Moana earlier, Maui spent time thinking about everything she said. He realized that Moana believed in him even when he doubted himself. For the first time in his life, someone trusted him not because of his powers, but because of who he truly was. That realization changes Maui. He decides to return and help Moana finish the mission. Maui transforms back into human form and lands on the boat beside her. Even though his magical fish hook is damaged, he chooses to fight anyway. Together they create a new plan. Maui will distract Teka by attacking the monster directly while Moana sails around the island and returns the heart to Te Fiti. The battle begins once again. Maui transforms into different animals and bravely fights the lava monster, keeping its attention focused on him. Meanwhile, Moana sails toward the island holding the glowing heart tightly. For the first time it seems like their plan might actually work. But as Moana finally reaches the center of the island, she suddenly realizes something shocking. The island of Te Fiti is completely missing. The ocean roars around the canoe as Moana finally reaches the center of the island where the goddess Te Fiti is supposed to be waiting. The glowing green heart hangs from her necklace, shining softly against the dark, smoke-filled sky. All around her, molten lava pours into the sea, and the heat from the burning island makes the air heavy and difficult to breathe. She looks around quickly, expecting to see the peaceful green mountain that represents Te Fiti, the goddess who once created life across the entire ocean. But something is terribly wrong. The island is empty. Instead of a beautiful green mountain full of plants and life, the place where Te Fiti should stand is nothing but black rock and burning lava. The ground is cracked, dry, and lifeless. No trees grow here, no flowers bloom. The heart of the island is completely hollow, like something important has been removed. Moana's face fills with confusion. She slowly walks across the rocky ground, staring at the empty space where the goddess should be. The glowing heart in her hand suddenly feels heavier. For a moment she wonders if she has come to the wrong place, but deep inside she knows this is exactly where Te Fiti once stood. Meanwhile, far behind her in the ocean, the battle continues. The powerful demigod Maui is fighting the enormous lava monster Teka. The creature roars like a volcano exploding, swinging massive arms made of molten rock. Each movement sends waves of fire crashing across the ocean's surface. Maui transforms rapidly between different animals as he tries to keep the monster distracted. One moment he becomes a giant hawk soaring through the smoke-filled sky. The next moment he changes into a massive shark swimming through the boiling water below. But despite all his power, the cracked magical fish hook in his hand reminds him that he cannot fight forever. Teika attacks again, launching a huge explosion of lava directly toward Maui. He barely avoids the blast, but the impact sends him crashing across the ocean waves. The crack in his magical fishhook spreads slightly, making Maui realize that another direct hit could destroy it completely. Back on the island, Moana continues staring at the empty mountain. Her mind begins racing as she tries to understand what went wrong. She traveled across the entire ocean, faced monsters, pirates, and storms, all to return the heart to Te Fiti. But now the goddess herself is gone. At first, Moana feels the same doubt she felt earlier during the journey. She wonders if the mission was impossible from the start. Maybe the world cannot be saved after all. But then she remembers something important. Throughout her journey, the ocean always guided her. Every time she faced danger, the sea helped her move forward. The ocean chose her for a reason. Moana slowly walks toward the edge of the island and looks out across the burning ocean. That is when she notices something strange about Tika. The monster continues fighting Maui with unstoppable rage. Its entire body is made of molten lava, with flames bursting from its shoulders and arms. But as Moana watches carefully, she begins noticing small details that no one else has realized. The monster never leaves the island. No matter how far Maui tries to lead it away during the battle, Tika always returns to the same place. It moves with anger and destruction, but something about its behavior feels almost protective. Suddenly, a shocking idea forms in Moana's mind. She looks again at the empty mountain where Te Fiti should be standing. Then she looks at the raging lava monster in the ocean. And finally, she understands the truth. Tekka is not protecting Te Fiti. Tekka is Te Fiti. Thousands of years ago, when Maui stole the heart of Te Fiti, the goddess lost the source of her life-giving power. Without her heart, the peaceful creator of life was transformed into a creature of anger and destruction. The beautiful green goddess became the fiery monster Tekka. The missing mountain and the lava creature are the same being. Moana suddenly realizes that the only way to restore balance is not to defeat Tekka, but to return the heart directly to her. But there is a problem. Right now, Maui is still fighting the monster in the ocean, trying to destroy it so Moana can safely reach the island. If the battle continues, the truth may never be revealed. Moana quickly runs back to her canoe and sails toward the battlefield. "Maui, stop!" she shouts across the crashing waves, but the sound of the battle is too loud. Te swings another massive arm of lava toward Maui, and the demigod blocks it with his magical fish hook. The impact sends a powerful shock wave across the water, knocking Moana's canoe sideways. The crack in Maui's fish hook spreads even further. For a moment Maui hesitates, realizing his weapon may break completely if he continues fighting. That is when he finally hears Moana's voice. She stands at the front of her canoe, holding the glowing heart in her hand. "Stop fighting," she calls again. Maui looks confused, but he trusts her enough to pause the attack. He quickly transforms into a giant hawk and flies away from the monster, giving Moana space to move forward. Now Moana sails directly toward the lava monster. Everyone watching would think this is the most dangerous decision possible. The creature towers above the ocean like a living volcano, roaring with unstoppable fury. But Moana is not afraid anymore. She stands calmly at the front of her canoe as the ocean gently moves her forward. Tekka notices her immediately. The monster roars loudly and begins moving toward the small boat, preparing to destroy it completely. But instead of attacking, Moana raises her hand. The ocean suddenly rises around her canoe, forming a massive wall of water on both sides. The sea itself creates a clear path directly toward the monster. Moana steps forward slowly. The lava monster stops moving. For the first time since the battle began, everything becomes silent except for the sound of the ocean waves. Moana looks directly at the creature's burning face and speaks softly. "I know who you are." Her voice is calm and filled with understanding. She gently lifts the glowing heart of Te Fiti into the air. "You are not Te Ka," she says quietly. "You are Te Fiti." The monster freezes. For a moment the flames across its body flicker as if reacting to Moana's words. Moana continues walking slowly toward the enormous creature. "I know your name," she says, "and I have brought your heart back." The ocean remains calm as she approaches the monster. Te Ka slowly lowers its burning head toward her. Even though the creature is massive and terrifying, something in its glowing eyes begins to change. The rage that once filled them starts fading. Moana gently places the glowing heart against the monster's chest. For a moment nothing happens. Then suddenly the entire ocean begins glowing with green light. The lava across Tika's body begins cooling and cracking. Flames disappear as beautiful green plants begin growing across the creature's surface. The terrifying monster slowly transforms. The burning lava fades away, revealing the peaceful goddess Te Fiti once again. The creator of life has returned. The moment Moana gently places the glowing heart of Te Fiti back into the chest of the massive lava monster Te Ka, the entire ocean seems to hold its breath. For a few seconds nothing moves. The fiery creature stands completely still, towering above Moana while the waves quietly move around her small canoe. Then suddenly the transformation begins. A soft green light spreads from the place where the heart touches the monster's chest. The bright glow moves across the creature's body like flowing energy. The burning lava that once covered the monster begins cooling and cracking apart. The bright flames slowly fade away, and the terrifying heat disappears from the air. Moana watches in amazement as the enormous creature begins changing shape. The burning red lava turns into smooth dark stone, and then something beautiful begins happening. Tiny green plants start growing across the surface of the stone. Flowers bloom instantly, vines stretch across the creature's arms, and bright green grass spreads everywhere. The giant lava monster is slowly transforming back into the peaceful island goddess. The fearsome Teka disappears, and in her place stands the true form of Te Fiti, the ancient creator of life. Te Fiti now looks like a living island made of stone and plants. Her body is covered with forests, flowers, and glowing green light. Her eyes shine with kindness instead of anger. The ocean becomes calm around her, as if the entire world is welcoming her return. For thousands of years, Te Fiti had been trapped in the form of a monster after losing her heart. Now that the heart has finally been restored, balance is returning to the world. Mona stands quietly in front of the goddess, watching this incredible moment. Te Fiti slowly kneels down and looks at Moana with gratitude. Even though she does not speak with words, her gentle expression shows deep appreciation. Without Moana's courage and kindness, the world would have remained trapped in darkness. Behind them, high above the ocean, Maui watches the transformation while flying in the sky. He slowly returns to the island, landing near Moana as the peaceful green light spreads across the ocean. For the first time in 1,000 years, Maui finally sees the true goddess he once wronged. He feels both relief and guilt at the same time. Te Fiti gently raises one of her massive hands and reaches toward Maui. At first he becomes nervous, remembering how his mistake created all this destruction in the first place. But instead of anger, the goddess shows forgiveness. From the glowing green forest on her hand, Te Fiti pulls out a brand new magical fish hook. She slowly gives it to Maui. The old cracked hook that Maui carried throughout the journey disappears, replaced by a perfect new one filled with powerful energy. The magical weapon glows brightly as Maui holds it again. For the first time in centuries, the demigod's power is fully restored. Maui looks at Moana with a grateful smile. This entire journey changed him. In the beginning, he only cared about being famous and admired, but now he understands something more important. True heroes help others not for praise, but because it is the right thing to do. Meanwhile, the magic of Te Fiti begins restoring the world. The black volcanic island that once burned with lava transforms into a beautiful green paradise. Trees grow instantly across the ground, rivers begin flowing again, and colorful flowers bloom everywhere. The ocean surrounding the island becomes clear and calm. Far away across the sea, the darkness spreading across other islands slowly disappears. Plants begin growing again, fish return to the ocean, and life across the world starts recovering. The balance of nature has finally been restored. Moana stands quietly, watching the ocean waves move peacefully around the island. She remembers the moment when she almost gave up during the journey. If the spirit of Gramatala had not reminded her who she truly was, none of this would have happened. The ocean gently moves around Moana's canoe again, almost like it is celebrating her success. Te Fiti slowly raises her hand and touches Moana's boat. The ocean responds immediately, lifting the canoe gently into the water. It is as if the goddess and the ocean itself are thanking Moana for restoring the heart. Soon it becomes time for Moana to return home. Maui prepares to leave as well. He transforms into a giant hawk and flies beside Moana's boat as she begins sailing away from the island. But before leaving, Maui pauses for a moment. He looks at Moana and smiles proudly. "You're a great voyager," he says. For Maui, this is one of the most honest compliments he has ever given. At the start of their journey, he doubted Moana's abilities, but now he fully respects her courage and leadership. Moana smiles back as the wind fills the sail of her canoe. Now she is no longer just a girl who dreamed about sailing beyond the reef. She has become the voyager her ancestors once were. As Moana sails across the peaceful ocean, the spirit of Gramatala appears once again beneath the water in the form of the glowing manta ray. The spirit swims beside the boat for a moment, guiding Moana safely across the sea. The journey that once felt impossible has finally been completed. But the most important part of Moana's story is still waiting for her, returning home and sharing what she has learned with her people. After the incredible moment where Moana returns the heart of Te Fiti, everything across the ocean begins to change in a way that feels almost magical. The once dark and dying world slowly comes back to life. The ocean, which had been full of anger, storms, and destruction because of the curse, now becomes calm, bright, and full of gentle movement. Waves no longer crash violently, instead, they roll peacefully, as if the sea itself is finally breathing again after holding its breath for centuries. Moana stands quietly near the shore of the restored island, watching this transformation with wide, emotional eyes. She can feel the difference in the air. The heavy darkness that once pressed on her journey is gone. The world feels lighter, warmer, and alive in a way she had never experienced before. She holds her hands slightly open as soft wind moves around her, almost like the ocean is thanking her for everything she has done. Far above the ocean, the demigod Maui soars through the sky in his giant hawk form. The sunlight reflects off his wings as he circles above the now peaceful waters. He looks down at the ocean and sees life returning everywhere. Islands that were once dying are now covered in green forests again. Coral reefs are glowing beneath the water. Birds are flying freely across the sky. Maui feels something strange inside him, something he rarely feels: peace. For a long time Maui lived for attention. He wanted humans to love him, to remember his name, to tell stories about his greatness. But now, as he watches the world heal because of Moana's courage and not his own glory, he understands something deeper. True heroism is not about being praised. It is about making sacrifices for others even when nobody is watching. He gently lands near the ocean, transforming back into his human form. His magical fish hook, now fully restored, glows with a soft energy. But for the first time Maui does not lift it proudly or show it off. Instead, he simply holds it calmly, as if he finally respects its true purpose. The hook is not just a weapon, it is a responsibility. Nearby, the island of Te Fiti stands peacefully once more. The goddess, now fully restored, radiates life and beauty. Her presence alone is enough to bring balance back to the world. The ground beneath her feet is covered in lush green plants, flowers bloom instantly wherever she steps, and the wind carries a soft, warm energy across the land. Moana slowly walks closer, still holding the memory of everything she endured. She remembers the beginning of her journey, when she was unsure, afraid, and confused about her destiny. She remembers how the ocean chose her, how she sailed beyond the reef for the first time, how she faced storms, pirates, monsters, and even moments of complete failure. But most importantly, she remembers how she never truly gave up, even when everything seemed lost. Te Fiti looks down at Moana with gentle gratitude. No words are spoken, but the connection between them is deeply understood. Moana did not just return the heart, she restored balance to the world and healed a wound that had existed for thousands of years. Slowly, Te Fiti raises her hand. From her glowing green form she creates small pieces of life that float across the ocean. These tiny islands of greenery drift gently on the water, showing how her power is spreading again. The ocean responds instantly, glowing softly as if celebrating her return. The entire world feels alive again, as if it has been reborn. Moana steps back toward her canoe, knowing that her time on this island is coming to an end. She feels a strange mix of emotions, relief, happiness, and sadness. Relief that the world is safe again, happiness that her journey was successful, but also sadness because she knows this incredible experience is ending and she must now return home. Behind her, Maui watches silently. For the first time, he does not try to joke or act proud. He simply observes the moment with respect. The bond between him and Moana has changed everything. At the beginning, he saw her as just a small island girl who didn't understand the ocean. But now he knows she is something far greater. She is a true voyager, chosen not because she is strong or powerful, but because she never stopped believing. Maui gives Moana a small nod. It is not loud or dramatic, but it carries meaning. It is his way of showing respect. Then he transforms into his hawk form once again. Before flying away, he glances back at Moana one last time. The wind moves through his feathers as he prepares to leave. "You're welcome," he says with a small grin. This time it is not arrogance, it is gratitude. Moana smiles softly, understanding everything that words cannot express. Their journey together may be ending, but the connection they formed will remain forever part of who they are. As Maui flies into the distance, the ocean gently carries Moana's canoe forward. The waves rise slightly beneath her boat, guiding her back home. It feels like the ocean itself is alive again, helping her return safely. Moana stands tall on her canoe, looking ahead toward the horizon. She is no longer the uncertain girl who once dreamed of the sea from the shore. She has become something much greater, a voyager who crossed the entire ocean, restored the heart of Te Fiti, and brought life back to the world. And as she sails forward, she knows her story is not just about saving the world, it is about discovering who she truly is. After restoring the heart of Te Fiti and bringing life back to the world, Moana begins her final journey across the ocean, this time not into danger, but back toward home. The sea is no longer dark or threatening. It feels calm, almost alive with joy, as if it remembers her and gently guides her canoe forward. The waves rise softly beneath her boat, lifting her forward with smooth, steady motion. The wind fills her sail perfectly, as though the ocean itself is helping her return. Moana stands tall at the front of her canoe, her hair moving in the wind, her eyes focused on the horizon. She is no longer the uncertain girl who once questioned her place in the world. She has become something greater, a true voyager. Beside her journey the demigod Maui flies in the sky in the form of a giant hawk. He circles above her, gliding effortlessly through the golden sunlight. His magical fish hook shines brightly, fully restored, but he no longer treats it as a symbol of pride or ego. Instead, he understands its meaning now. It is not just a weapon or a source of power, it is a responsibility earned through sacrifice and growth. As Moana sails closer to her island, she begins to see land in the distance. The island she once left behind in fear now looks completely different. Green forests cover the hills, palm trees stand tall and strong. The water around the island is full of life again, fish swimming freely, coral reefs glowing beneath the surface, and birds circling the skies. The sickness that once threatened her people is gone. The darkness that was spreading across their world has disappeared completely. Everything has been healed. Moana feels her heart fill with emotion as she gets closer. She remembers the moment she left in secret, the fear she felt beyond the reef, and the countless dangers she faced along the way. But now all of that pain has turned into something meaningful. Every challenge led her to this moment. As her canoe reaches the shore, people begin to gather. At first they do not believe what they are seeing. They thought Moana had been lost to the ocean forever. Even her father, Chief Tui, stands frozen in shock as he watches his daughter return alive. Moana steps off her canoe slowly, standing confidently in front of her people. The same girl who once struggled with doubt now stands as a leader. There is silence for a moment as everyone processes what has happened. Then Moana begins to speak. She tells them everything. She speaks of the ancient voyagers who once traveled across the ocean without fear. She tells them about their forgotten identity, about how their ancestors were not meant to stay hidden behind the reef but were born to explore the vast sea. She explains how the ocean is not an enemy but a connection between islands, between people, and between their history. The people listen carefully. Some are shocked, some are confused, but slowly understanding begins to grow. Moana continues, telling them about the journey she took, about the monsters she faced, and about how she restored the heart of Te Fiti, bringing life back to the world. She does not speak with pride or arrogance. She speaks with honesty and humility. Behind her, Maui lands on the shore in human form. He watches silently as Moana speaks. For the first time he sees how powerful words can be when they come from truth rather than ego. Moana walks toward the ancient cave where their old canoes are hidden. The same canoes that were forgotten for generations now stand as a reminder of who they once were. She places her hand on one of them and turns back to her people. "This is who we are," she says softly. A long silence follows. Then something changes. One by one the people begin to move. They walk toward the canoes, they touch them, they look at each other with new understanding. Fear slowly fades away, curiosity returns, courage begins to rise. Chief Tui steps forward. At first he struggles with what he has learned. He once believed the ocean was dangerous and that staying on the island was the only way to survive. But now he sees the truth standing in front of him, his daughter, who crossed the entire ocean and returned stronger, wiser, and alive. With pride in his eyes, he finally accepts it. Moana was right. The ocean is not something to fear, it is part of who they are. As the sun begins to set, the villagers begin preparing the canoes. For the first time in generations they are ready to sail again, not because they are escaping something, but because they are discovering something. Moana stands at the shore, watching everything unfold. The ocean gently moves at her feet, almost like it is smiling. The spirit of Gramatala appears once more as a glowing manta ray beneath the water. She swims beside Moana for a moment, proud and peaceful, before slowly fading away into the depths of the sea. Moana smiles softly, knowing her grandmother can now rest in peace. Above her, Maui transforms into a hawk and begins to fly away. He circles the island one last time, looking down at Moana and the people she has inspired. With a final nod, he disappears into the horizon, ready for his next adventure, but forever changed by the journey they shared. Moana walks forward into the ocean, standing where the waves meet the shore. She looks out at the endless waters stretching beyond the horizon. This time she does not see danger, she sees possibility. She understands now that her journey did not end when she returned the heart of Te Fiti. In many ways it was only the beginning. Her people are ready to sail again, the ocean is ready to guide them, and Moana is ready to lead, not as someone who defied tradition, but as someone who rediscovered it. As the final light of the sun disappears into the sea, Moana stands proudly, feeling the wind around her. The ocean calls once again, not as a warning, but as an invitation. And this time she answers with confidence, because she is not just a daughter of the island. She is a voyager,